Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is your boy Phil back at it with another video. In this video, we are going to be learning how to create this beautiful website with the Pagefly page builder in Shopify. If you don't know what Pagefly is, it is basically a software that can help you create beautiful and responsive web designs without any coding experience whatsoever. In this tutorial, we will learn how to create pages inside of Pagefly, how to add custom elements to your website, and how to use the intuitive drag and drop page builder that Pagefly provides in order to create complex web designs from scratch. To follow along with this video, you are going to be needing a Shopify website. So if you don't already have a Shopify website, then you can use the link down below in the description to sign up to Shopify and create your first ever store on free trial. Also, before starting this video, if you're new to the channel, then consider subscribing and turning on your bell notifications. We are a channel dedicated towards teaching you everything about web design, and we'll be uploading more content about Shopify in the future. With that, let's start today's video. So first of all, we can go ahead and install Pagefly. For this, you have to navigate into your Shopify dashboard and go into apps. Then click on apps and sales channel settings and click on Shopify App Store. After searching Pagefly, we will come across this page and click on the install button. We're going to be installing Pagefly. So as you can see, Pagefly has been successfully installed. Now we can go ahead and get started with creating our first ever page on Pagefly. For this, simply navigate down and click on this particular button and click on Start Creating Pages. Now I am going to be teaching you how to build out this page from scratch using Pagefly. So we are not going to be using a template. Instead, we are going to be creating with a blank page. And we can select any of these options here. In my case, I want to create a home page. So I'm just going to be clicking on Home. Now this will take you into the Pagefly page builder. Now we can start customizing our page from inside of this page builder. First thing that we have to do is that we have to click on add an element. And from here, we can select a layout that we can add here. We can use any of these layouts here, but since this is going to be the first ever section that we will see, I'm going to be adding two layouts. So the idea that I have here is to use this particular layout in order to add my headings and this particular layout in order to add a custom image. So let's go ahead and achieve that. So in order to add a heading inside of here, we are going to be clicking on add elements. And then we will find this particular option here called headings. After we click on it, we will see all these options. So I am just going to be clicking on this particular one and I'm going to be dragging it into the column here. So as you can see, the header has been added. Now before doing anything else, let's go ahead and check out the demo website first of all. So this is the demo website and this is the first section that we have to create. Let's go ahead and learn exactly how we can create this. First of all, go back to the page and here inside the heading section, we can copy this particular heading and we can paste it inside of this particular dialog box and just click on allow. So as you can see, the heading has been pasted. Now we'll do the same thing for this particular text below. And how to add this particular text? We are going to go to add element and inside of paragraph, we're going to be dragging the paragraph section down below. And inside of the text prompt, we are going to be pasting this. So as you can see, it has been added now. Now in the demo, you were able to see that this particular text and this particular text is bigger as compared to this. So let's make it to the same size as the one in the demo. So what we are going to be doing is that we are going to be selecting this particular header and inside the styling section, we will scroll down and inside the font size, I'm going to be keeping this as 56. And for the paragraph section, I'm going to be making this 20. So as you can see, it's almost the same size as this one. Okay, I might have to change this to 22 instead. So let's go there and let's change it to 22. Perfect. So it looks almost the same size as this one. Now what we have to do is that you will be able to see that the font family is different as compared to the demo website. So for that, what we are going to be doing is that we are going to be going into font family and we are going to be clicking on this particular button. Then we are going to be searching for two font families in particular, IBM Plex Serif. Let's just select this. And then I'm going to be selecting colon. So keep both of these in mind. The rest two, Antonio and Poppins, I'm going to be deleting these. So colon and IBM Plex Serif has been selected. Let me click on the select button. And for the heading, I am going to go into this drop down So this drop down will only appear, and these fonts will only show if you first go to the settings section and select these fonts from this section right here. Otherwise it would not show in this section, so make sure that you do that. Okay, so after selecting heading, I am going to be selecting colon, and after selecting the paragraph, I am going to be selecting IBM Plex Serif. So as you can see, this is a little bit different than this one. That might be because of the line height. So let me just go ahead and adjust the line height a little bit. Let me try to find the option here. Inside of the you have to go into the more settings, and line height, you have to adjust it to 70. Yeah, this would be perfect. And for the paragraph, I am going to be adding some negative margin here so that the space between this heading and paragraph can be like minimized. So I will select paragraph, and I am going to be scrolling here, and I'm going to be adding a minus and 10. So as you can see, the distance between them has been lessened. Let me just make this 15 instead. Okay, perfect. Now what we have to do is that we have to add this particular background to sum it off. So how are we going to be doing that? I'm actually going to be providing you this file within which I'm going to be sharing all these assets. So if you want to build out this website from scratch with me, then you can follow along using that particular file. So I'm going to be providing that file in the link down below in the description. So after downloading the file and zipping it, it's going to look something like this. Shopify Shoe Store is the name of the file. Once you go inside of this file, you will be able to see this particular section here called hero section. This is the actual image used as the background image for the hero section on the demo website. So in order to add this into Shopify, what we are going to be doing is that we are going to be going back here, and we are going to be clicking on this particular section. So once we select this, you should see like this particular section here. So you have to click on this, and this is the whole section within which all these headings and paragraphs are kept. So we have to select this particular option, and an easy way to select this is to either click on the background here where it says section, or simply click on any of these items here and like click on the section from the top button here. So once the section has been selected, you need to go into the styling settings, and you need to scroll down, and inside of background image, you have to select an image. Now you can upload any image that you want to, but since we want to add the background image and we want to create the hero as the same as the demo, we are going to be selecting hero section. So once this has been uploaded, click on select, and you will be able to see that this is a little bit different than this one. The first reason is that we have to change the styling of this particular heading, and we have to make it the font color to be white. So let's scroll back. Let's make this text to be color white. So inside of content color, we are going to be selecting white. Same with the paragraph. By the way, if you want to add a custom color, then you can simply go inside of this one, and you can add a custom color from inside the color picker here. But since it was a little bit easier for me, I just selected a pre-selected color. Okay, so now that we have changed this, now we have to increase the padding inside of this particular hero section. So let's see exactly how we will do that. First of all, click on section, and then inside the padding menu, we have to select 100 on top padding and 100 on the bottom padding. Okay, so that might not be enough. Okay, so instead of selecting 100 on the top and the bottom padding, we can select 150 on the top padding and around 250 on the bottom padding, because of course we are going to be having this particular section which we are going to be adding just below this section. So we are going to be needing some bit of extra padding here. So let's go ahead and save this. By the way, make sure that you save your settings systematically every single time that you make a major change, so that in case you get your power supply disconnected or something like that, then your changes might be saved and the progress that you have made is not lost. So just click on the publish button and click on publish. So one thing that you have to note is that since you have created this home page, once you save and publish this particular page, it's going to be showing up in the home page of your website. So instead of the default demo theme, this particular page is going to be showing up on the first page. So make sure of that when you publish the changes. Okay, so one major difference between this particular section and this particular section is that this section appears to be a little bit more darker than this one. So let's see exactly how we can add this particular overlay. So after having selected section, we can go to the styling settings, scroll down, and inside of the background image section, click on more settings. And there will be the overlay color setting inside of here. So first of all, we have to select the color that we are going to be using to overlay. And in this case, we can use this one. And we are going to be selecting this. So inside of the 000 section, we are going to be, for the last 0, we are going to be adding 0.5. And for this particular transparency, we are going to be decreasing this to this much. So as you can see, it is almost as dark and looks similar to this particular section. Okay, so one thing that you will be able to notice here is that the background image is repeating. So we want to avoid this because this looks kind of dirty. So let's select the section option again, and let's get into the background settings and click on more settings. And inside of background size, what we are going to be doing is that we are going to be selecting cover. Now, as you can see, the background image covers the entire section and it does not repeat. So it looks much better as compared to before. Okay, so now that we are done with the main hero section, let's see exactly how to add this section right here. So let's go back, and then we have to go into add elements, and inside of layout, we are going to be selecting the single layout. Drag it down below. Okay, now as you can see, the section has been added and there is a column inside of this section. Let's see exactly how we can make this section to look like this. Alright, so first of all, what we have to do is that the column inside of here, we want to make it smaller as compared to this section. For that, we are going to be going into the section setting, and then we are going to go to general. We are going to scroll down, and inside of max width, we are going to be changing this from 1170 to 700. This would make the column inside the section much smaller so that it can mimic this particular section. Next thing, what we are going to be doing is that we have to add the heading and this particular countdown menu. For that, let's go to add elements and let's go to heading. Drag it down. And we are going to be copying this particular heading, copy style. And we're going to be pasting the style over here. Now we have to change a little bit of the styling. First of all, we have to make the color black. So let's do that. And then we are going to be changing the alignment to center line so that we can mimic this one. And we're going to be copying this particular text here. Sale ends in. And inside of general, we're going to be adding this one. Okay. So next is the countdown menu. For that, we are going to be going again into add element, and from here we will search for countdown, and let's see exactly which one this is. So okay, so it is this one. So we're going to be scrolling this down here. Let's add it here. All right, amazing. Now, as you might be able to see, there is significant differences between what this looks like and this looks like. So first of all, we have to make the heading size a little bit smaller because this one is smaller as compared to this particular heading. So let's select this heading and let's go to styling. First of all, we're going to go down, and inside of font size, we will select 40. Or let's select just 45. Okay. And for this countdown number, first of all, let's go ahead and change the font family to IBX Plex Serif, and let's increase the font size to, okay, so let's increase the font size to maybe 55, and let's change the center alignment. So we have to make this center aligned, and for that, what we are going to be doing is that we will first go into column, and inside of the text alignment, we will select center. So it will be center aligned. Now we have to decrease this one here. Okay. So that looks good. Now what we have to do is that we have to add some padding inside of this section. For that, let's select the row, and inside of styling we will go to padding, and we will add a top padding of 60, a bottom padding of 60, and a padding of 100 each on either sides. Okay, so that looks good. Now what we have to do is that we have to add this background color there. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so inside of the background color section we will select the black color. Okay, so now that we have selected black, we have to change the colors of these fonts real quick. So inside of font settings we are going to be selecting white, and for the countdown number as well we are going to be selecting the content color as white. Same for all the labels and stuff. Let me select that. Alright, so that looks good. Now we have to go ahead and change the font size and family of the countdown label. So let's go ahead and select countdown label, and inside of styling let's adjust the font size to be 24. And for the font family I'm going to be selecting IBM Plex Serif. Now as you can see, it looks similar to this one. Now one thing more that I would like to do is that I would like to make the margin between this heading and the countdown numbers to be a little bit lesser. So I'm going to be selecting countdown numbers, and inside of margin I'm going to be adding -10. So that decreases the space between both these numbers. Now one thing you will be able to notice is that the countdown feature, it is showing a countdown of 24 hours. Let's see exactly how to add this countdown. So what you need to do is that you need to click on this countdown number here, and from the top here you need to click on countdown. From there you will go into general settings, and you can select the option to specify a time or on the first visit. You can select any of these. So I am going to be selecting a specific time for this one, and the start time would be right now, and the countdown would end at tomorrow. Let's click on OK. So as you can see, the countdown has started. Now what we have to do is that we have to align this particular row inside of this section, as you can see here. For that we are going to be selecting the entire row, and then we are going to go into styling section, and we're going to be adding a margin of -150. Now as you can see, the section has been added like this, the way that you can see inside of the demo section. Now first of all we will go ahead and click on save in order to save our changes, and click on publish. Now before going into the next sections and designing them, let's go ahead and check out a preview of what this section looks like on the front end. For that we will go into the I button here, and as you can see, this is a preview of what our section currently looks like. So it looks pretty good. I'm going to be closing that and heading into the next section. Okay, so before going into the next section though, there is one more neat option that we have to add here that would add to the design capabilities of this website. So in the original demo, if you would see, when we would scroll down and we would come into this countdown section and like scroll on this, so it shows a little animation here whenever we'd hover over it. So how to add this particular animation? So let's go back to our page builder, and we have to come here pretty much, and we have to select the row within which the countdown section has been encapsulated. Once after selecting this, we have to go into general settings and scroll down, and inside of the animation section, when mouse hover, we have to select this one as float. So as you can see, once we save it and publish the website, and if we hover over this, there is a nice float animation appearing. Alright, so now that we have finished completing this particular section right here, let's see exactly how to design this section. So let's go back to our page builder, and first of all, in order to create this particular section here, we have to add a layout. So let me select the layout from over here, and we have to add like the double layout. Let me drag that down there. Let me drag that down here, and the double layout has been added. Now I need to basically add this text, which is going to be a heading. So I will come here and I will drag the heading section, and inside of general I will paste the heading. Now for this to be the same typography and font size, I will go ahead and select colon, and for the font size I will make it 36. Amazing. Now I'll go back, copy this, and with an add element I will drag down the paragraph section, add the paragraph here, and inside of styling I'm going to be selecting IBM Plex Serif and font size will be 16. And one more thing that I'm going to be doing is that inside of the demo website you will be able to see that these two are aligned at pretty much the exact level on a vertical basis. So in order to do that, I'm going to be coming back, and in order to get these both aligned in the center from a vertical standpoint, what I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to be selecting like this row, and inside of general I'm going to be going into content position and selecting center, which is going to neatly align both of these together. So this section we have created. Now one thing that you will be noticing is that there is not space between this section, so we have to add that space. For that we are going to be going into the outer section, and for this section we are going to add a padding of 105 on the top and 105 on the bottom. So this would evenly space this section from this one, and it looks much neater as compared to before. Let me go ahead and save the changes and publish them. Now let's go ahead and create this section from the scratch. So first of all, what you need to do is that you need to add the appropriate products inside of the Shopify backend in order to create this section, because this is going to be a product list. So if you want to get a list of these products, I will basically be leaving a CSV down below in the file that I asked you to download earlier. With the assets, I'm also going to be leaving this particular file here. So you can basically just come inside of the Shopify dashboard, go into products section and import the CSV file inside of the Shopify store, and you will get all 4 of these products, and they will be inside of the shoe section. So what you need to do is that once you import these, you need to come back and you need to basically come here inside of the layout section. By the way, if you don't know how to import products inside of Shopify, there will be a button appearing above. It will show you exactly how to import products inside of Shopify using CSV. So go ahead and check that out if you have any doubts. Okay, to continue, what you need to do is that you basically need to add a layout section, and you need to drag this down here. And as you're able to see, there is one section added along with a row. You need to drag the row just below this, and the section you need to delete it. So this has given us a neat row and a column. So you have to go ahead and select the row again, and you just have to go and select the you have to go to general and you have to delete this particular column. Now inside of Shopify elements, we have to go there and select the product list and drag this particular one down inside of here. Now as you can see, the product list has been added. You can change the product source to a custom collection and select a collection from inside of here, or you can simply add all, which basically will show all the products irrespective of the collection. So I'm just going to be selecting all, since I only have 4 products inside of this particular store. But if you want to, you can select any of these options and add the products that you want. So okay, now that I've selected all, you can see these particular shoes here. But one thing you'll be able to notice is that the product list, the title, the button and everything else, it is a little bit different than this one. So how can we change the styles of all these things? So you have to select each one of these individually. For example, I will go ahead and just select the title first of all, and I will go into the styling section, and from inside of the typography, I'm going to be selecting IBM Plex Serif. I'm going to be making the title around 16 in font size. Then I'm going to be selecting the price, and I'm going to be changing the font family of this as well to IBM Plex Serif and increasing the font size to 18. I'm going to be increasing the font size to 20. So it looks a little bit bigger than the title. Now what you will be able to see in the product website is that the price is above the title and the name of the store. So what you need to do is that you need to come into the price and you need to drag this above the title. And as you can see, it is now above the title. Now in order to customize the rest of the section, first of all, we have to go into Shopify Elements and search for product vendor. We're going to be dragging this down, and the product vendor is listed just below the price. So we're going to be keeping this here. Let's change the font family to IBM Plex Serif and change the font size to 14. Now one thing you'll be able to notice is that all of these title, price, everything, it is aligned to the left. So let us quickly align these to the left as well. After selecting vendor, I'm going to be clicking on text alignment left. For the title, I'm going to be doing the same. And for product price, I'm going to be going there. And in justify content, I'm going to be doing flex start. So that solves the problem. Now all that is left for us to do is to customize the add to cart button. So let's select the add to cart. And here we will be able to see that the add to cart is basically like white. It has like a background of black, and when we hover over it, it changes colors. So let's see how we can do that. Going back, once we select add to cart, inside of content color, let's change this from custom to black. And going back, once we select the background color, we are going to be selecting white. So let's just go to the custom color and let's drag the picker here and make it white. And inside of border, I'm going to be adding a border style here, and the border width, I'm going to be making it 1px. So as you can see, it looks good. Now we need to give it a little bit of padding. For that, we will again select the button and we will go into the styling section. And on the top and bottom, we are going to be adding 15 padding. And on either sides, we are going to be adding 20 each. To finish off, we are going to be making the font size inside of the add to cart to be 16. And we're going to be changing it to IBM Plex Serif. So wonderful. Now this section looks exactly the same as this one. So let's go ahead and save this and publish the changes. All right, so now that we have finished with this section, we have to go ahead and create this section from the scratch. Let's go ahead and add another layout, and this should be a double layout. Let's drag it down here. And inside of here, we want to add these two sections. So I'll just copy this text, add an element, and I will drag in a heading. Now I'm just going to be pasting the text inside of here. Now I will select the paragraph and I will drag it down here. And from the demo website, I'm going to be copying this and inside the general section, adding this here. Now I am just going to be copying the styles from upstairs and pasting it here. Same for the paragraph section as well. Now we need to make this entire section to be the black color. So let's select the section, and inside of styling, we will scroll down, and to the background setting, we will go to custom and we will select black. Now let's make both these headings and paragraphs white in color so that we can see them on the black background. I will select the heading, and inside the styling section, I will select the color white. Same for the paragraph. Alright, so that looks much better. Now the only thing left for us to do is to make these center aligned. So for that, I will select the row, and inside of general, I will select the content position to be center. That looks good. Now we need to add a little bit of padding here. So I'm going to be selecting the entire section, and inside of styling, I'm going to be adding a padding of 150 on the top and 150 on the bottom. That looks good. Now we have created this section. Let's go ahead and create this section from the scratch as well. For that, you will need all these three images. So the file that I asked you to download earlier, you will find these images there. But first of all, let's go ahead and add these sections. For that, we are going to be needing to add a layout of 3 sections. So let's go ahead into the add element section. We will click on layout, and then we will drag this down here. Actually, we need to drag just the row below this section right here. So let's do that. And now since the row is there, we can delete this section. Okay, so now we have to start adding these images one by one. So let's go ahead and do that. Add element. Let's search for image and we'll drag this one down here. Now we need to add two other images here. So instead of adding it from the add element section, we're just going to be duplicating this one and dragging it one by one. So that makes things a whole lot easier and simpler. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's start adding these images. For that, you have to refer back to the file. So essentially what you need to do is that you need to click on the image section first of all, and you need to select image, and you can click on upload and go back to this file. And as you can see, the first image is this one. So I'm just going to be clicking on this and it's going to be uploaded. Okay, so let's just select this and add it here. So as you can see, it looks good. Now let's add the rest of the images. Alright, so it looks good now. Let's save the changes real quick. Now let's go ahead and add this text down here. Add element. We will search for title and drag it down here. We're going to be changing the content color to white. Let's copy this one and add it here. Change this to IBM Plex serif, and the font size should be 16. And we're going to be making this center aligned. Now let's duplicate this one and drag it below each one of these images. So now let's make another duplicate, and here I'm going to be adding this text. Now this section has a custom color and a different font size. The font family will be the same, IBM Plex serif, but the font size is going to be 20, and we can change the color and make it yellow, or we can just go into the front end of the website and we can basically use this extension called Colorzilla, which is available on the Google extension market. You can use this, it is free to download, and you can get the color of this one using this color picker. So the color has been copied. Now I can go back and I can basically paste the color here. Okay, so great, now it's working. And now I can make duplicates of this one and simply drag it below each one of these. We would also want to make this bold. Now let's go ahead and copy the text and add it one by one. One more thing that we have to do is that we have to come inside of the heading like this one, and we have to decrease the margin. So let's make it 0 on either sides. We're going to be copying the style of this one and we're going to be adding it here. So as you can see, the margin has been decreased. And now let's copy the text from this one and add it here. Let's also go ahead and decrease the margin on both these headings. Let's make it 0 here and 0 here as well. Okay, great. So now the section looks good. Let's go ahead and save the changes. Okay, next, in order to create this section, let's go back and add a layout. This should be a double layout. Okay, we have added the rows here. Now let's make a duplicate of this and drag it down into this column. Make another duplicate, drag this one down here. Now we have to select this image from inside of the file. Let's go to general, and now let's click on this. And after it's been uploaded, select this here and click on the select button. Now let's select this image the same way. So wonderful. Now both the images have been added. Now let's go ahead and duplicate this heading and drag it down here. Let's do the same thing to this one. And let's duplicate this particular heading as well and drag it down here. Now we are going to be copying this one and adding it here. We're going to be decreasing the space. Let's copy this. And do the same to this one as well. Okay, wonderful. Now this section has been completed as well. Okay, so one thing that we have to do is that since the padding here, you will be able to notice it is a little bit like more as compared to the padding on the demo website. It is because we have mistakenly added a padding of 150 here on the section. We were supposed to add only a padding of 105 on the top and bottom. So let's change that. Okay, so now you can see it looks perfect. Now creating this next section is going to be really easy since we have already created this before. So what we can do here is that we can just come inside of there and click on the product list and click on duplicate and drag it down and just keep it here. And as you can see, the product list has been added. Now the only thing that we have to do in order to make this product list look the similar as the demo website, we just have to add some padding inside of the section within which this has been contained. So let's select the section and let's go to styling and let's add a padding of 105 on the top and bottom each. So as you can see, this now looks very good and it looks similar to the demo website. Now let's go ahead and start creating this section right here. First of all, go to add element and then drag the single layout. Now following this design, we have to make this section black in color. So let's do that. From custom colors, let's select black. Okay, wonderful. Now let's add a title here. And let's make this title white in color. Let's copy the title and paste it here. We will also center align this title and change the font size to colon and make the font size to be 32. Okay, wonderful. Now to create this section, we are going to be again adding a layout. And this has to be a triple layout. Let's drag it down here. And then we have to start adding these images one by one. First of all, we'll need to drag the image column here. And going to general, let's search that particular image from the file section. So here it is. Let's select that and let's upload the video inside of here. One thing that we are going to be doing is that after adding this video here, we are going to be selecting the image ratio to be original. So this would make it the original size as it appears in the demo website. Okay, so now this looks good. Now we have to go ahead and add this text section. For that, again, go to add element. And inside of paragraph, drag this one down here. Let's change the color of this paragraph to white. And in font family, let's select IBM Plex Serif. And this is good. So it is at 16. So that's fine. Now let's copy this and add it here. Okay, so now let's add this particular image. Let's duplicate this one. Now let's go to general section and let's upload the image from the file. It's going to be this image. Now let's select this and add it inside. Okay, so this looks good. Now let's make another duplicate. Drag that here and let's upload this image. To sum it off, we just have to add this particular paragraph here. So I'm just going to be copying this and I'm going to be making a duplicate of this one. Drag this one here and let's add it like this. So as you can see, this section has been complete. The only thing left for us to do is to add some padding. So similar to before, we are going to be selecting the section and we will go to styling and add a padding of 105 on the top and the bottom. So as you can see, this looks amazing. Now let's go ahead and save our changes. Alright, so now let's create the next section, which would be this one. So again, let's go to add element and add a single layout here. Similar to the other sections, we are going to be adding a top padding of 105 and a bottom padding of 105. Then we'll need to add a heading. So let's drag this down here, and let's just simply copy the heading style from here and paste it on this. Now let's copy the heading. Okay, and now let's align the text to the center. So this looks good. Now let's go back, and we are going to be adding another section here, a single layout that is. So now we are going to be adding something called a content list, which is going to look like this after we are done with it. So after clicking on content list, we will drag this one into here, and we are going to be going ahead and deleting the buttons from here. And instead of the buttons, let's go ahead and add paragraphs inside of here. Okay, so that looks good. Now we are going to be selecting this column, specifically the columns inside the content list. And what we are going to be doing is that we are going to be adding a padding of 260 on the top and 24 each on either sides. Alright, that looks good. Now what we are going to be doing is that we are going to be changing the font family of the header into colon, and the font size will be changed to 24. Great. Now let's copy all of these one by one. Great. Now we are going to be doing the same thing with the paragraphs. We are going to be changing the font family to IBM Plex Serif, and we're going to be copying the text from here and pasting it over here. Alright, so once this is done, we have to go back into the content list, go into general, and for item spacing we will reduce it to 0 so that there is no space between these items. Now let's add the individual images for each of these sections. Let's go to styling. Instead of background image, I'm going to be searching for the background image. Now let's see exactly which one it is. Okay, so it looks like this. I'm going to be searching for it in the file. Okay, so this is the image. I'm going to be selecting this, and I'm going to be adding this one here. Okay, so after adding this image, you might be able to see that once you add the image to one column, it gets added to the other columns as well. This is because all the columns have been synchronized. So in order to avoid this synchronization, what you basically need to do is that once you click on one of these columns, just scroll upstairs here, and like you would have to click on one of these and click on this content list item. And what you basically need to do is that you need to go into general, and styling synchronization you need to change into unselect CLI and all children. Okay, and now you can individually change the image of this particular column. Let's do the same for this column as well. So go to general, in fact just select the column first, go to content list item, and change it to the last one, unsync CLI and all children. Okay, so now let's add the next image, which is this one. So inside of styling, we will select, and we will go to the file, and this is the image. Let's just select this one, and now let's add it here. Okay, so that has been successfully added. Now let's do the same for this section. So let's select this one and add it here. Okay, so now this looks good. Now we just need to change the color of the headings and the paragraphs. So let's do that. Let's select heading, and we're going to be changing this into white. Copy the style and paste it to this one and to this one. Now let's select the paragraph here. We will change the color to white again, and we'll copy this style and paste it to the different paragraphs as well. Now let's click on save changes. Okay, so now that we have created this particular section, it's time for us to create the customer testimonial section. Let's see exactly how we can create that. First of all, we will drag the single layout section down here, and now we will make this whole section to be black color. Let's make the background color to be black. Immediately after this, we are going to be adding a padding of 105 each on top and on the bottom. Now we can simply add a title here. For that, I am just going to be copying a title from here. We'll be duplicating this, and I'm going to be moving this downstairs. Now let's copy this particular title and let's add it here. Now let's add a slideshow here. Select slideshow and drag this one down here. Okay, and inside of the slideshow we will go to general and we will create 4 slides here, and we will again click on slideshow, and then we will select on items displayed to be 2. Now we have to add some padding inside these slides, so we will select a single column and we are going to be going into styling and add a padding of 24. Let's copy the style and paste it to this column and to the rest of the columns as well. Okay, great. Now let's also make each of these columns to be color white. Copy the styles again and paste it one by one. Great. And now again we will go into slideshow and we are going to be adding some item spacing. The item spacing should be around 30 px. Okay, great. Now we are going to be adding this particular quote icon. We will search for icons and we will drag it down here, and inside of general we will search for quote and we will select this one. We're going to be duplicating this and dragging it one by one into each column. Okay, great. Now we are going to be adding the paragraph section, and we are going to be making this paragraph to be IBX plex serif and 16 px. We will do the same with the paragraph. We will create 3 duplicates and we're going to be adding these duplicates one by one. Okay, now this section looks great. Let's go ahead and click on save changes. Now once the changes have been saved, it's time for us to create these avatar menus. Let's go back, click on add element, and we will drag down the image here. And this should be just below this one, this row. Okay, so the image has been added. Now what we are going to be doing is that we are going to be duplicating this particular image and we're going to be dragging it one by one inside of all these like before. Okay, so now this looks good. Now what we are going to be doing is that we are going to be adding these images. So let's go back into the file and we will navigate into the testimonial section, and here we will be able to see the different testimonial icons. Let's select these. So the first one would be this one, the photo of this girl. Once uploaded, simply select this and add it here. Okay, so in this section what we need to do is that we need to come down here into general and we need to select the image ratio to be original, and we can come here into the enable full width section and click on no and keep the image width as 85. Next we can come into the styling section and keep the horizontal alignment into center. That makes it all nice and centered. So that looks good. Now we can add all the different images one by one. Now I have finished adding all of these sections, as you can see. Okay, so now it's time to add this particular heading. So let's go back and search for heading, drag this down here. We'll change the content color to white and make this to be center aligned. Let's copy this one, Valentine Gibbs, and paste it here. And let's also change the font family to IBM plex serif and the font size to be 16. Again, we are going to be making duplicates for this one, and we're going to be dragging this here. Okay, so now I've added the headings to each and every one of these rows as well. Now next what we have to do is that we have to add this pagination and this navigation menu. So we will again select one of these items And from the top here, we are going to be selecting slideshow. And then we will go into general. And for the navigation type, we are going to be selecting navigation 2, which is going to give us this arrow. And for pagination type, we are going to be changing it from none to pagination 3, which would give us these nice 3 dots like this. So we can use that. Now, since we have created this section, let's click on save. So finally, after creating this section, we have now arrived at the last section that we have to create in this particular website. So it is the frequently asked section and the contact form section. So let's see how we can create this. Again, let's go and add a layout. This should be double. Let's drag it down here, close this one. And again, within section, I'm going to be adding a padding of 105 each on the top and the bottom. Now this section is the color white, so we're going to be leaving it as it is. Inside the column, I'm going to be adding a title. And I'm going to be copying the style from here and pasting it here. Just make sure that this is size 32 and it is aligned to the left. Let me copy this and let me add it here. Okay, so now we have to create the frequently asked section, which would be this accordion. So let's see how we can add that. Go back to add element, and here we are going to be searching for accordion, and we are going to be dragging this one down here. Great. Now firstly, let's go ahead and change the style of this particular accordion element. So we are going to be selecting this one first of all, the accordion header, and inside of styling, we are going to be going down. And for font family, of course, we are going to be selecting IBM Plex Serif, and we are going to be making the font size to be 16. Next, we are going to be changing the background color to white, and then we are going to be adding a border of 1 px. The border color should be black. Great. So now this accordion element, it looks similar to this one. Now we are going to be dragging a paragraph inside of this accordion. So let's do that. Okay, so that has been added. And let's do the same for all the 3 accordions as well. So one thing you'll be able to see is that there are 4 accordions here. So let me add all 4 here first of all. Go to general and duplicate this. So as you can see, the 4th accordion has been added. Great. Now we are going to be changing the styling of the paragraph. So let's go back into styling and change the font family to IBM Plex Serif. Let's copy the style and let's paste it on every single text. Okay, great. Now what we have to do is that when we click on this accordion, you can see that there is a paragraph inside, but there is also this darker background. So how can we do that? We will select the row within which the paragraph is contained, and then we will go to styling. We will change the background color. So let's make this color, and let's decrease the transparency a bit. Okay, great. Now let's copy the style and let's paste it on each of these. Great. Now that looks good. Now it's time for us to add the actual FAQs into the FAQ section. So there is no way for me to copy this particular FAQ title. So I'm just going to be remembering this and typing out here. So how long does it take for my order to ship out? Let me select the accordion header, and I will come down here after selecting this one, and this is the header text. So I can change it to how long will it take for my order, what was it again? Okay, order to ship out. Similarly, I'm going to be adding this to the title as well. Will I receive customs import duties? For that, let me show you exactly how it's done. I'm going to be selecting this one because this is the second title, and as you can see, the header text is showing up. So I can change that. Will I receive import custom duties? So like that we can change these one by one. Now I'm going to be skipping over and I'm going to be doing these. Okay, so now as you can see, I've added all 4 of the FAQs. Now it's time to change the paragraph text. So for that, let's click on the single accordion and let's go into their individual paragraph. And now we can come back here into frequently asked in the demo site, and we can pretty much copy this one, these one by one, and we can start adding it here. So this is for the second one. This is for the first one. Let's add these one by one. Okay, great. So now I have added the FAQs on the titles and the paragraphs. So pretty much this FAQ section is complete. Now the only section that is left for us to do is this particular section right here. So let's start off by selecting the column, and we are going to be making this column to be black in color. Okay, now we are going to be selecting this column section again, and from inside of styling, we are going to be adding a padding of 77 on the left, on the right, and 80 on the top and the bottom. Great. Now we have to add this title. Let's go back, go to heading, drag the heading down here, change the color of the heading, change the color of the heading, copy this from here, add it here, change the alignment. We're going to be making this size 32, and we're going to be making this colon. Next, we will add a paragraph. We are going to be changing the styling for this to IBM Plex Serif. The font size should be 16. Let's make this center aligned, and let's again change the color to white. Let's copy this and add it here. Now we are going to be decreasing the margin between the heading and the paragraph. For that, we are going to be removing this particular margin from here. So from 16, let's make it 0, and let's make this one 0 as well. Now the next step is for us to add this contact form. Now we can't get this contact form inside of add element section. In order to get the contact form, we need to go into add Shopify elements instead. Once inside of here, go to search elements and search for contact form. Great. Now this is the contact form that we have to drag here. So simply drag this one down here. Now first of all, we have to change the labels. So let's select the labels here, and let's change the content color to white. Next, we have to change this font style into IBM Plex Serif. Copy style and paste it over again. Now we have to select this field input and change the color here to black. Let's copy the style and let's add it here to all the different sections. Great. So now it looks good. Now next we have to change the style of this particular button. Let's do that. Let's select the contact form button and let's change the background to white. Then we have to change the content color. So let's make it black. And now let's make this horizontally aligned. We can also add a padding for this button. So the padding needs to be 20 each on either sides and 10 each on the top and bottom. Let's change the font family of the button text to IBM Plex Serif. So we have finally created each and every section of this beautiful website. Now let's go ahead and save the changes and publish the website. Now after publishing, let's click on the preview button and let's see exactly how the website looks. So as you can see, the website looks absolutely beautiful, and we have created this from the scratch without any coding experience whatsoever using the Pagefly page builder. So that looks really nice, and it looks just similar to the demo website actually. So today you have learned how to use the Pagefly page builder in order to create a website. So that will be all for today's video. Thank you so much if you sticked until the very end and if you watched the complete video. It has been a great help so far. So that will be all for today's video. Thank you so much if you sticked by until the very end and if you watched the complete video. And if you like the video so far, then consider subscribing and turning on your bell notifications, because I'm going to be uploading more content related to Shopify in the future. With that, I'm going to be signing off. This is Phil from Practical Media. Bye bye.